Why do some of the smartest people on the planet make the absolute worst financial decisions, while someone with no formal education can retire a multimillionaire? It's a haunting question, isn't it? We've been taught that finance is all about math, charts, and complex formulas. But the truth is, doing well with money has very little to do with how smart you are, and a whole lot to do with how you behave. Imagine two men. One is Ronald Read. He was a gas station attendant and a janitor for 25 years. He lived in a small house, drove a second-hand car, and clipped coupons. When he died at age 92, the world was shocked to find he had $8 million in the bank. He left millions to his local library and hospital. Now, look at Richard Fuscone, Harvard-educated Merrill Lynch executive, a titan of Wall Street. He was so successful he retired in his 40s to a mansion with 11 bathrooms and 2 swimming pools. But during the 2008 crash, his high-leverage lifestyle collapsed. He declared bankruptcy, and his mansion was foreclosed on for pennies on the dollar. How does a janitor with no financial education outperform a Harvard genius? It's because money isn't a math problem, it's a behavior problem. Welcome to the breakdown of the psychology of money by Morgan Housel. I'm so glad you're here because honestly, most financial advice is boring. It's all about PE ratios and tax harvesting. But Morgan Housel, one of the most brilliant financial writers of our time, realized that we don't make financial decisions on a spreadsheet. We make them at the dinner table, fueled by ego, pride, fear, and social pressure. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the soft skills of wealth. You'll learn why your biggest asset isn't your paycheck, but your mindset. Let's get into the 12 most transformative lessons from the book. 1. The myth of the crazy investor. Housel starts with a reality check. No one is crazy. Think about it. If you grew up when inflation was 15%, you view bonds and savings differently than someone who grew up when inflation was 2%. We like to think we're being rational, but we're actually just reacting to our own history. The lesson: stop beating yourself up for stupid past mistakes. You were just an amateur trying to navigate a world you didn't fully understand yet. The goal now is to align your money with your goals, not the neighbors. 2. Luck and risk. The silent partners. We live in a culture that worships self-made billionaires. But Housel drops a truth bomb. Luck and risk are the same thing. They are both the acknowledgement that life is more than just 100% individual effort. He tells the story of Bill Gates. Gates went to Lakeside School, the only high school in the world that had a computer in 1968. That was luck. 1 in a million. But his best friend, Kent Evans, who was just as brilliant, died in a mountaineering accident before graduating. That was risk. 1 in a million. The takeaway: when things go well, realize you aren't as smart as you think. When things go poorly, realize you aren't as bad as you feel. Focus on the things you can control. 3. The moving goalpost problem. This is where most rich people fail. They get a raise, so they buy a bigger car. They get a bonus, so they move to a bigger zip code. Housel warns that the hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. If your expectations always outpace your income, you will be perpetually poor, no matter how many zeros are in your bank account. Social comparison is the ceiling of happiness. 4. The power of never leaving the room. Housel calls this confounding compounding. Warren Buffett is often cited for his genius, but his real edge was time. He started investing at age 10. If he had started at 30 and retired at 60, you would have never heard of him. The strategy: you don't need 20% returns. You need 10% returns that you can sustain for 40 years without interrupting them. Good investing is about not screwing up more than it is about being right. 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. These are two completely different skill sets. Getting wealthy requires optimism, risk-taking, and leaning in. Staying wealthy requires humility and a healthy dose of paranoia. You have to be financially unbreakable. This means having enough cash on hand so that when the market crashes, and it will, you aren't forced to sell your stocks at the bottom. 6. Tails, you win. In finance, tails drive everything. This means that a few massive successes account for the majority of the results. Disney made hundreds of cartoons. Snow White saved the company. The S&P 500 is 500 companies, but a handful of them drive almost all the gains. The lesson: you can be wrong half the time and still make a fortune, as long as you let your tail events, your big winners, run. 7. The ultimate dividend: control. Why do we want money? Most people say to buy stuff. Housel disagrees. The highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. Money's greatest value is time. It buys you the ability to wait for a better job, the ability to retire early, or the ability to be present for your kids. That is the dividend that a Ferrari can never pay you. 8. Man in the car paradox. When you see someone driving a Porsche, you don't think, wow, that guy is cool. You think, wow, if I had that car, people would think I am cool. Paradox. No one is impressed with your possessions as much as you are. People use your wealth signals as a benchmark for their own desire. If you want respect and admiration, Housel suggests humility and empathy carry much more weight than horsepower. 9. Wealth is what you don't see. This is a life-changing distinction. Rich is a current income. It's the flashy watch and the leased Tesla. It's what you see. Wealth is the income not spent. It's the optionality. It's the money in the brokerage account that hasn't been turned into stuff yet. Wealth is the ability to not have to worry. Rich is having to work harder to pay for the things you just bought. 10. Save money. Most people think they need a reason to save. A house, a car, a wedding. Housel says, save for the sake of saving. In a world where the future is unpredictable, hidden cash is a hedge against life's red swan events. Saving gives you optionality. It's the invisible currency that lets you pivot when the world changes. 11. Be reasonable, not rational. A rational person follows the math. A reasonable person follows what helps them sleep at night. If paying off your mortgage early makes you feel safe, even though the math says you should invest that money in the stock market, do it. Being reasonable ensures you stay the course, and staying the course is the only way to win. 12. The margin of safety. The most important part of every plan is planning on your plan not going according to plan. Leave room for error. If you think you need $5,000 a month to retire, aim for $7,000. This isn't being pessimistic, it's being a realist. The world is volatile. Give yourself a cushion. So there it is, the soft skills of money. It's not about being the smartest person in the room, it's about being the most disciplined. I'm curious, which of these 12 points hit you the hardest? Are you a Ronald Read saver, or have you been caught in the moving goalpost trap? Let's talk about it in the comments below. I want to know your stories because that's how we all get better. Here at BloomShelf Hub, we believe that the right book at the right time can change your life. Our goal is to bring you the best insights from the world's greatest thinkers so you can build a life of freedom and purpose. If you enjoyed this summary, please smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. It really helps the channel grow and allows us to keep making these deep dives for you. Stay tuned for our next video. We've got something special coming that's going to change the way you think about productivity. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing, and remember, control your behavior and you'll control your wealth.